Namaskar, Adab, Salam, Vadakkam and Sat Sri Akal. Hi guys, in today's video we are going to be conducting a data deep dive into Paytm's merchant lending business. Now when we talk of Paytm, let us be very clear that Paytm does not lend out of its own books. Rather, it lends via the books of its lending partners, some of which have been listed in front of you. These are names like Aditya Birla Capital, Hero FinCorp, Piramal Finance, etc. Now, when we talk of its business loan product, that is the merchant lending product, it works very simply. The method is simple that when merchants have developed a track record of 3 to 5 or more months of consistent transactions of certain limit, then Paytm takes all of that data, it processes it via its different models, risk models and algorithms to understand different metrics like what value of transactions are happening in general. Are the transactions happening at regular frequency? What is the frequency of transactions from particular high value users for that merchant? Or things like at what time of the day the transactions happen, what geo position are they in, etc. And when all of these things happen, Paytm uses all this data to understand how confident does it feel in lending to a particular merchant. If it feels confident, then it pulls together all such list of all of such merchants. It forwards the list to its lending partners, and then they decide if they are feeling comfortable in extending a credit line to these merchants. And that is how this entire product works. And once the lenders say that, okay, I'm confident in lending to say these 20 out of your 100 list, then those 20 people are basically shown the option to probably take a loan. So this is how the product is structured. Now, the top of the funnel in this entire system comes out to the number of merchants that are operating on Paytm. And if you look at the numbers, you can see that the number of merchants registered on Paytm have gone from 1.9 crores almost 2.5 years back to almost 3.35 crores. So that's almost 1.8x growth in 2.25 in almost 2.5 years, which is quite good at such a massive scale, because 3.35 crores, 3 crore 35 lakh is not a small number when it comes to the merchant base. So pretty laudable, right? But what kind of merchants are they? So basically these are merchants who basically use probably a QR code generated by Paytm, or maybe they use the Paytm devices like Soundbox, which you would have seen in all kind of places, big shops as well as small thelas and rediwalas, who the vegetable vendors, etc. It could also be a POS machine that you would see at probably Vijay Sales or other such notable places, right? So that is the merchant base that we are talking about. And these merchants, if you look at the dark blue line out here, this basically indicates the average number of transactions that an average merchant has registered in a quarter, right? So if you look at this number, this has grown from 64 to 204 over the course of last 2.5 years. That's more than 3x growth. So it has grown much more faster than the number of registered merchants. Now this is all obviously benefited from the fact that the digital transactions have begun to happen at a much larger scale all over India. So it is not just that okay, Paytm has done it, but the thing is, why are these transactions being routed through Paytm's QR only? Because whenever you would go to different shops, you would observe that there are a lot of different QR codes, right? There would also be a QR code from PhonePe or Bharat Pay. There would also be a QR code from probably you can say HDFC Bank, and there would be a Paytm QR, etc. But the sign that this number is rising for Paytm's QR, it kind of gives confidence that okay, maybe Paytm is doing something right in ensuring that the merchant wants to use Paytm's QR only, Paytm's device only. That is the inclination that we get from here, number one. But is it happening on its own, or is there a deliberate push towards it? To understand that, you need to understand how are these devices are being sold by Paytm, right? So basically most people assume that Paytm has built an army of sales personnel to sell Soundbox and POS machines, and they do sell these machines, and the count of such people have grown very very rapidly from almost 3,500 to almost 30,000 people now, right? Almost to 28,500 people we can see out here, number of people who are employed as sales reps. But they are not just about selling these things. Rather, when they go and sell the Soundbox, they tell the merchants that you should route all your transactions through Paytm's device only, through this Soundbox only, through this POS machine only. Because when you do that, a transaction history will be generated and you will be able to get a very easy loan. That is the pitch that the salespeople make. So basically the salespeople are more about creating more and more awareness about the lending product, the merchant loan business. The awareness is being created by these guys. So they are not just about selling a piece of hardware, rather they are also a lot about, in fact majorly about, creating awareness that okay, if you route all your transactions through this device, you could probably get a very easy loan 3 months down the line or 4 months down the line. That is what is happening out here. So you can see that these people have sold a lot of these devices. Number of devices out there from Paytm, it's almost 8 lakhs as of the last quarter. So the numbers have grown pretty fantabulously. And along with that, thanks to these sales guys, number of transactions per merchant has also grown very, very robustly, as we saw in the previous slide. I'll show it to you again. You can see almost 204 transactions per quarter, an average merchant. And let us be very clear why this awareness creation part matters, because most Indian merchants have yet to gain access to formal credit. They are not unaware of credit particularly, but they have been more used to informal means of credit taking, informal loans. And this is awareness being created that, you know what, just by accepting transactions from this particular QR or this particular device, you can probably increase your chance of getting access to formal credit that otherwise most banks would not give you. That is what this is about, right? So when we talk about the impact of all of this, you can see the numbers, how they have grown. The number of loans being disbursed have grown very, very fantastically. And in the last quarter, Paytm basically lent out to almost 1,37,000 merchants. These are pretty big numbers, right? And the amount lent to these guys is almost 2,313 crores. So very sizable numbers. And if you look at this line out here, it would tell you the average loan amount per loan. What is the average amount being lent out? So you would see a beautiful trend playing out, wherein basically the amount is increasing consistently out here, more or less consistently. And why is that happening? Because a lot of people who have completed a loan cycle, they come back to take a loan again. And when that happens, Paytm has generated even more amount of data, plus more confidence in lending to a person who has already taken a loan and already returned it very well. So Paytm gives it a higher credit limit that, okay, last time I allowed you to take a loan of 2 lakhs. This time I'll allow you to take a loan of 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs. And that is how basically merchants end up borrowing more very easily from Paytm. And thus Paytm's metric is going up in terms of Paytm's average loan amount. And of course, the money Paytm earns out of it is also going up as a result. Now, but a question should arise. How do the device sales matter, right? So the point is, when people pay for a device, they become much more likely to use that device for receiving payments than a free QR, because now they have paid for it. Plus, this device also helps them ensure that their likelihood of getting formal credit increases manifold, as the sales rep tell them, right? And when all of these transactions happen, Paytm gets a lot of data to process and understand which merchants it can lend to. So Paytm benefits this way. It's a complete flywheel out here, right? And more transactions happen, more confidence Paytm generates about, lending to a merchant. So that is why devices matter. Now, but in terms of numbers, if you look at it, almost 85% of loans that Paytm is lending out as of 2 quarters back, this number stood at 85%. All the loans went to device holding merchants. So clearly, device holding merchants are doing much more transactions, generating much more data, and hence they account for most of the loans being given out via Paytm, right? Plus, if you would be really surprised to know that 45% is the repeat borrower rate as of 2 quarters ago. So what that means is that a majority chunk of the loans being given out are to people who had already borrowed before, completed a cycle, and have come back to borrow. And the result is Paytm is able to give them a higher credit line, and hence the average loan amount is also growing because of this particular factor, right? So that is how this product is working out. But when there is such fantabulous growth and numbers are growing so well in terms of average loan amount, and the devices growth is happening at such good way, salespeople are doing such good job, such growth comes attached with some risk as well, right? Because lending never comes without risk. So what are the defaults about? How does Paytm tackle the defaults, right? So Paytm has basically shared certain data with us, where it basically says that, whenever someone defaults or basically misses an EMI, okay, what Paytm does is in 80 to 85% cases, it uses its own tech or platform to resolve those cases, in the sense that it would probably send out notifications on the app or your phone, or SMSs, reach out to you over call maybe, and remind you that, hey, you probably missed out on paying your EMI by mistake, or maybe you did not have money in your account on that particular day, so maybe 2 days later or 3 days later you pay it off. And that is how 80 to 85% of such cases where people miss out on their EMIs or their daily installments, it is being rectified, it is resolved. So that means if 100 borrowers miss EMIs, Paytm is already able to bring that number down to 15 to 20. So that is a big enough improvement in the first leg. And thereafter, whoever those 15 to 20 people are who have not yet paid back the EMIs or the daily installments in over 90 days of period, those people are naturally tagged as NPA by the banks or NBFCs. So what Paytm does is, it takes those people's list, it forwards it to the ground collections team. It can be its own team or the partner team, because it has also tied up with 50 plus such ground handling companies, right? So what happens is, those people go and recover amount from another 5 to 7 defaulters. From another most of the people. So what ends up is that out of every 100 defaulters, it is only 5 to 7 who actually end up defaulting on their loans, and rest of the people, they are fine. So let us be very clear. It may be that Paytm is lending out to a lot of people, 100 people default, and if 100 people are defaulting, out of that, only 5 to 7 probably end up being an NPA account. Rest is all good. So these numbers are pretty solid. And this matters for Paytm. The reason is, there is a thing called performance bonus out here, right? So let us go back a few slides and understand this thing. So whenever these loans are given out, Paytm earns nearly 3.5% commission, right? So say a loan amount is 1 lakh rupees, so Paytm earns 3.5% on that. And there is also collection fee involved. Now think of this collection fee as a performance bonus, because this 1.5% of the entire loan amount will be received by Paytm only if the entire loan amount is actually paid back. So this entire loan has to be collected by Paytm itself. So Paytm has to ensure that anyhow the amount is paid back by the borrower. And if it ensures that, then this nearly 1.5% of additional income happens as a performance bonus. This is called collection fee by them. And that is how this entire business is flowing out here. I hope you really liked the analysis. I hope you found it insightful. If you did find it insightful, guys, do like the video, do subscribe to the channel, and do share it across. We share such deep dives with you every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 6 p.m. Do subscribe and do hit the bell icon. Thank you.